Hello. Before we begin today's routine, let's get a clear picture of where you stand right now. We're going to conduct a quick, honest self-assessment of your leg health. No special tools are needed, just your attention. Imagine you're starting with a perfect score of 5. I'm going to list 5 common signs of circulatory slowdown. For every symptom you've noticed recently, you'll deduct 1 point. Ready? First, do your feet or toes often feel persistently cold, even when you're in a warm room? If you find yourself reaching for socks when others are comfortable, that's a point off. This can indicate that oxygen-rich blood is having a tough time making the full journey down to your extremities. Second, do your legs tend to feel heavy, achy, or unusually tired by the end of a normal day? I'm not talking about after a marathon hike, but after your regular routine, perhaps a day of sitting at a desk or light housework. If your legs feel like lead by evening, subtract another point. This sensation is often due to blood and fluid pooling in your lower legs because the upward flow back to your heart has slowed. Third, have you noticed any swelling around your ankles or feet as the day progresses? A clear sign is if your socks leave deep indented marks around your calves, or if your shoes feel noticeably tighter at night than they did in the morning. If that sounds familiar, that's another point gone. Fourth, do you ever get sudden, painful muscle cramps in your calves, especially during the night? These aren't just little twitches, these are the spasms that jolt you awake. If yes, subtract 1 point. These cramps often occur when muscles aren't getting enough oxygen, which is delivered exclusively through your bloodstream. Fifth and finally, have you noticed the appearance of new spider veins, those small, web-like red or blue lines, or larger, bulging varicose veins that weren't there a few years ago? If you've seen these changes on your skin, subtract your final point. Now, let's see where you land. If you scored a 5, your circulatory system is in excellent shape, and today's information will help you maintain that. If you scored a 3 or 4, your body is sending you some gentle, early warnings. This is the perfect time to take action. And if you scored a 2 or lower, please don't feel discouraged. Instead, feel motivated. The lower your starting point, the more profound and noticeable your improvement will be over the next 2 weeks. I encourage you to pause the video right now and write your score in the comments. This creates a benchmark. In 2 weeks after practicing what I'm about to teach you, you can retake this test and see your progress for yourself. Now, let's get to the solution. Now that you have your starting score, let's talk about why these issues happen and how we can fix them with simple movements. Most people think of the heart as the sole driver of circulation. While it's a powerful pump, its main job is pushing blood down to your legs. The real challenge is getting that blood back up from your feet to your chest, working against the force of gravity. Inside your leg veins, there is an ingenious system of tiny one-way valves. Think of them as gates that open to let blood flow upward toward the heart and then snap shut to prevent it from falling back down toward your feet. As we age or spend long periods sitting, these valves can weaken. When they don't close properly, blood begins to pool in the lower legs. This pooling is the direct cause of that heavy feeling, the swelling in your ankles, and the visible veins on the surface. So if the heart isn't strong enough to pull blood up from our feet and the valves are weakening, what force can possibly move this blood upward? The answer is your muscles. This is where the concept of the second heart comes in. Your calf muscles in particular play this role. Every time a leg muscle contracts, it squeezes the deep veins running through them. This compression acts like a powerful external pump, forcing blood upward through the valves. When you sit still for long periods, this muscular pump is essentially turned off. Blood flow velocity slows down dramatically. In fact, research shows that after just 30 to 60 minutes of sitting without movement, blood flow in the legs can drop significantly. This stagnant, slow-moving blood creates the perfect environment for fluid buildup, and in more serious cases can increase the risk of clotting. The good news is that this pump is incredibly easy to reactivate. You don't need a gym, you don't need to stand up, you just need to contract your muscles. The 3 exercises we're about to do are designed to do exactly that. They target the large muscle groups in your thighs and calves, turning them into powerful pumps that push blood back toward your heart. By the end of this short routine, you will have manually flushed blood through your entire lower body, delivering fresh oxygen to starved tissues and clearing out the stagnant fluid that causes discomfort. Let's start with our first movement to get that pump going. Our first exercise is simple, accessible, and incredibly effective at waking up the muscles in your thighs. I call it the seated march. Find a sturdy, comfortable chair.
Sit upright, allowing your back to be straight but not rigid, and place your feet flat on the floor, hip width apart. This is your starting position. From here, we're going to march in place, but while staying seated. Begin by lifting your right foot just a few inches off the floor, raising your knee toward the ceiling. The movement comes from your hip, and you should focus on deliberately contracting the muscles on the top of your thigh, your quadriceps. Feel that muscle engage. Then, with control, lower your foot back down to the floor. Immediately follow with your left leg, lifting the left knee, feeling the thigh contract, and placing the foot back down. The key to making this exercise work is intention and control. This isn't about speed. Avoid the temptation to swing your legs using momentum. If you lean back in your chair and let your legs pendulum up and down, you're bypassing the muscle work we need. Instead, maintain an upright posture. Lift with purpose and lower your foot slowly and quietly. If you hear your foot slapping the floor, you're letting gravity do the work. A silent, controlled placement means your muscles are engaged on the way down as well as on the way up. Aim for a steady, rhythmic pace, like a ticking clock. Lift and lower, lift and lower. Continue this marching motion for about 60 seconds. In that time, you should perform roughly 15 to 20 lifts with each leg. As you do this, pay attention to how your thighs feel. Within the first 30 seconds or so, you might start to notice a gentle warmth spreading through your upper legs. That sensation is exactly what we're after. That warmth is fresh, oxygenated blood being pumped into muscle tissue that may have been starved for circulation just moments ago. This exercise effectively compresses and releases the large veins in your thighs with every repetition, forcing blood to move upward. It's a gentle but powerful way to restart the flow after periods of stillness. If you feel any strain in your lower back, check your posture and ensure you're not leaning too far back. This movement is your foundation. Once you've completed your minute of marching, shake out your legs for a moment, and we'll move on to an exercise that targets both the thighs and the all-important calves.
Now we're going to add a movement that engages both the upper and lower leg in one fluid sequence. This is excellent for flushing blood from the ankle all the way up to the hip. Let's call it the leg extension with ankle flex. Return to your seated position with your feet flat on the floor. We'll begin with the right leg. Slowly straighten your leg out in front of you, lifting your foot off the ground. Aim to straighten your knee as much as is comfortably possible. It's fine if your leg isn't perfectly straight. The goal is a controlled extension, not to overstrain the joint. At this point, your thigh muscle, the quadriceps, is engaged and squeezing the veins in your upper leg. Now, here's where we add the crucial second step. With your leg extended, point your toes away from your body, as if you're a ballet dancer pointing their foot. You should feel a strong contraction in your calf muscle. Hold this point for a brief 2-second squeeze. Then, reverse the motion by flexing your foot, pulling your toes back toward your shin. You'll feel a stretch along your calf as the muscle relaxes and lengthens. Finally, with control, slowly bend your knee and lower your foot back to the starting position on the floor. Let's break down what just happened internally. First, the leg extension activated the thigh pump. Then, pointing your toes gave a powerful squeeze to your calf muscles, your second heart, which forcibly compressed the deep venous system in your lower leg, shooting blood upward. Finally, flexing the foot allowed those veins to refill with blood from the foot, preparing them for the next cycle. Perform this sequence about 8 to 10 times on your right leg, then switch to your left. Move slowly and deliberately. The quality of each movement matters far more than the speed. If straightening your knee fully is uncomfortable, you have 2 excellent options for modification. First, you can extend the leg only partway to whatever point is pain-free. Second, and most importantly, you can skip the leg extension entirely and simply perform the toe points and flexes with your feet resting on the floor. Lift your heels, point your toes away to squeeze the calf, then pull your toes up to stretch it. This modification still delivers the profound benefits of the calf pump, which is the most critical part of this exercise for circulation. We've arrived at the most important exercise of our routine, the one I consider the ultimate activator of the body's second heart. This is the seated calf pump. While the previous exercises are excellent, this one is the non-negotiable foundational movement for leg circulation. Get settled in your chair with your feet flat on the floor. placed about hip-width apart. Ensure you're sitting tall with your spine elongated. For this exercise, the balls of your feet and your toes will remain in firm contact with the floor at all times. From this position, slowly lift both of your heels as high as you possibly can. You're coming up onto the balls of your feet. At the very top of the movement, consciously squeeze your calf muscles. Tighten them as hard as you can for a second. Then, with equal control, slowly lower your heels back down to the floor until they're resting flat again. That's 1 repetition. Let's try a few together. Heels up, squeeze at the top, and slowly down. Up, squeeze, and down. Continue this pumping motion at a steady, rhythmic pace. If you close your eyes and focus inward, you can almost imagine the blood being wrung out of your lower legs with every squeeze, like a water from a sponge. Each contraction forcibly compresses the deep venous system in your calves, propelling a wave of blood upward against gravity. Aim to do this for about 2 minutes continuously. Around the 1-minute mark, you might begin to feel a mild burning sensation in your calf muscles. Don't be alarmed. That's simply lactic acid building up, which is a normal sign that the muscles are working effectively. If the burn becomes too intense, simply pause for 10 to 15 seconds, let the muscles recover, and then resume your pumps. Once the basic 2-legged pump becomes easy, you can increase the challenge with a simple progression. Try doing the pumps with 1 leg at a time. Keep your left foot flat on the floor for stability and perform 15 to 20 pumps with just your right leg. This doubles the workload on that single calf. Then switch and do the same on the left. Single leg pumps are significantly more powerful for building strength and enhancing the circulatory effect. The beauty of this exercise is its portability. You can do it while watching TV, sitting at your desk, or waiting for your coffee to brew. It requires no special equipment and is the most direct way to keep blood from pooling in your lower legs. Every single pump sends a surge of blood back toward your heart, lightening your legs and reducing that feeling of heaviness. You now have your 3 exercises, but to truly transform your circulation, it helps to weave them into a simple daily plan and support them with a few lifestyle adjustments. Here is your complete protocol, plus 3 bonus strategies to maximize your results. First, let's create your daily routine. Perform these 3 exercises in sequence once per day, ideally in the late afternoon or evening. This is when fluid has naturally accumulated in your lower legs from the day's activities, and you'll feel the most relief. Start with the seated march for 60 seconds to warm up the thighs. Next, move to the leg extension with ankle flex, doing 8 to 10 slow, controlled repetitions on each leg. Finish with the star of the show, the seated calf pump, for 2 full minutes. The entire routine takes less than 6 minutes. In addition to this daily session, the seated calf pump can be used as a spot treatment anytime you've been sitting still for too long. Remember the research about blood flow dropping after just 30 minutes of sitting? Here's your 20-20 rule to combat that. Every 20 minutes, give your legs 20 seconds of movement. This could be 10 quick calf pumps, a few seated marches, or simply pressing your feet firmly into the floor. This brief interruption is enough to reset your circulation clock. If you sit 8 hours a day, that's 24 opportunities to keep your blood moving. Now for the 3 bonus boosters that will amplify your results. Booster 1, the hydration timing trick. Your blood is roughly half water. When you're dehydrated, your blood becomes thicker and more viscous, making it harder to push through narrow veins. The common mistake is drinking little water during the day and then chugging large glasses in the evening. This floods your system at night, leading to ankle swelling and disrupted sleep. The fix is front-loading. Drink the majority of your daily intake in the morning and early afternoon. Aim to have most of your daily intake consumed by 3 or 4 p.m. This keeps your blood thin and flowing smoothly during your active hours. Booster 2 is 1 food and 1 habit. The food is beets. They're rich in nitrates that your body converts into nitric oxide, a naturally relaxing and widening blood vessels. Wider vessels mean easier, more efficient blood flow. Aim for 2 to 3 servings a week.
The habit is to break crossing your legs. When you cross one leg over the other, you physically compress the crucial veins running behind your knee, pinching the very highway we're trying to keep open. My challenge to you is simple. Do this routine and implement these tips for the next 2 weeks. Then come back to the beginning of this video and take the 5-point test again. I'm confident you will see your score improve. When you do, share your before and after score in the comments. Your progress could be the motivation someone else needs to start their own journey to better health.